Today we will begin the Animal Kingdom unit. In this unit we will discuss the major characteristics of animals. We will also do a brief introduction to the two main groups of animals. Before we begin, I would like you to take a moment to think about what all animals have in common. All animals, from the simplest sponge to complex animals like mammals and insects, share several common characteristics. All animals are multicellular, which means they have bodies that are composed of more than one cell. All animals are eukaryotic, which means they have nuclei and other organelles within their cells. All animals are heterotrophic, which means they consume or eat food. Organisms within the animal kingdom do not have cell walls. In fact, the animal kingdom is the only kingdom in which all of its members do not have cell walls. These are the four unifying characteristics of the animal kingdom. If an organism has these four characteristics, they must be classified within the animal kingdom. Animals are separated into two main groups. These are the invertebrates and the vertebrates. Invertebrates are animals that do not have a backbone. Vertebrates are animals that do have a backbone. We will spend most of the unit discussing invertebrates because they make up most of the organisms in the animal kingdom. Invertebrates come in a wide variety of forms. These are some common types of invertebrates. Arthropods include organisms like crabs, centipedes, spiders, and insects. Insects include things like ants and butterflies. Mollusks like clams, snails, oysters, and octopi are also invertebrates. Starfish and sea urchins are invertebrates in the echinoderm phylum. Vertebrates are the animals that you are probably more familiar with. They include mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles, and fish. Because we are more familiar with the vertebrates, it's hard to imagine that they are far outnumbered by the invertebrates. If we were to count the number of different species in each group of animals, the number of invertebrates would far outnumber the vertebrates. In fact, there are more species of invertebrates, things like insects and other arthropods, than there are all other living things on Earth combined. It doesn't matter if an animal is an invertebrate or a vertebrate. All animals must carry out 7 essential functions in order to be able to survive. All animals must obtain food, animals must take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide, and all animals must have a way to transport oxygen, nutrients, and waste throughout their bodies. Animals have a wide variety of feeding habits. Starfish pry open and feed on clams. Butterflies drink nectar from flowers. Cows and other herbivores graze on plants, and leeches feed on blood meals from their hosts. Whether animals live on land or in the water, all animals take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide. Even fish use their gills to take in the dissolved oxygen from the water. This process is called respiration. During the process of respiration, our lungs exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide from the air, much like the gills of fish do in the water. During the process of circulation, animals move nutrients, oxygen, and waste throughout their body. Humans are very complex animals, and we have an entire circulatory system to move nutrients and waste around our bodies. Our heart pumps blood, which carries nutrients and oxygen to every cell of the body. Simpler organisms, like some invertebrates, rely on movements of their bodies to move materials around. Animals also excrete waste from their bodies, respond to their environments, move or have a way to move water for feeding, and all animals are able to reproduce. In humans, our kidneys function to filter harmful waste from the blood. Our kidneys, along with other organs of our excretory system, function to remove this waste from our bodies. Simple animals like flatworms and jellyfish rely on the processes of osmosis and diffusion to move harmful substances right across the surface of their skin. Animals also have nerve cells that allow them to respond to their environments. Humans and other mammals have very complex nervous systems. Simple animals like starfish and jellyfish have less complex nervous systems. Jellyfish have a simple nerve net over their entire bodies. Starfish have a simple nerve ring in the center of their bodies and a nerve in each arm. Most animals can move. Many animals, like humans, have skeletal and muscular systems that work together to make movement possible. Simple animals, like sponges, who are filter feeders, only have a few specialized cells with flagella that cause water to move so that they can obtain food. All animals are able to reproduce. If a species cannot reproduce, that species will die out and become extinct. Most animals, including humans, reproduce sexually. Some animals can reproduce asexually. Jellyfish and hydras can reproduce asexually by budding. In budding, a new organism grows directly from the body of the parent organism. When the new organism matures, it breaks off from the parent and attaches to the ocean bottom to live on its own. Pause the video now to record the information in your concept map. When you have finished, hit play. Pause the video now. Now that we have discussed the major characteristics that all animals have in common, let's take a look at some trends in the structure of animal bodies. All animals have some specialized cells. This means that they have cells that carry out specific functions. Even simple sponges have specialized cells. They have cells that digest their food, cells that move water, and cells that carry out reproduction. Humans have hundreds of specialized cells. Our red blood cells carry oxygen, white blood cells fight infection, muscle cells contract and relax to produce movement, and nerve cells carry electrical impulses so that we might respond to the environment. These specialized cells are organized within the bodies of animals. Cells like this muscle cell are organized into tissues. Tissues are organized into organs like the stomach. Organs are part of organ systems. For example, the organ system pictured to the right is of the digestive system. It is made up of organs like the stomach. The stomach is made up of several different types of tissues, including muscle tissue. Finally, tissues are made up of individual types of cells. Most organisms within the animal kingdom also exhibit body symmetry. This means that their body parts are arranged in orderly pairs. An organism that has radial symmetry can be cut along many different planes to produce two mirror images. An organism that has bilateral symmetry can only be cut one way to produce two mirror images. This can best be explained with a picture. We'll come back to this slide in a few minutes. This diagram illustrates body symmetry. Pictured on the left is a sea anemone. It has radial symmetry. It can be cut along many different planes to produce two mirror images. A lobster is pictured on the right. It can only be cut along one plane to produce two mirror images. As you can see, this is right down the center of the lobster. What type of symmetry do you think humans have? If you answered bilateral, you are correct. These organisms have radial symmetry. They can be cut in many different ways to produce two equal parts. These different ways are represented by the red lines here. Organisms that exhibit bilateral symmetry are some of the most complex of all animals on Earth. Because of bilateral symmetry, organisms can have cephalization, which is a concentration of sense organs in the front of the body. For example, in humans, our major sense organs like eyes, ears, nose, and mouth are located in the head. This helps us better sense the environment. Organisms with cephalization are better able to respond to stimuli like the detection of predators. Having bilateral symmetry also enables animals to have complex organ systems suspended inside of a body cavity. This is an important step in the evolution of animals. This concludes the introduction to the animal kingdom. Tomorrow we'll begin to take a look at each of the phyla of invertebrates in a little more detail.